Welcome to the Secrets of the Bible channel. The Philistines. They are probably one of the ancient world's most mysterious and misunderstood peoples. The Bible describes them as one of the nations that fought the tribes of Israel, from the time of Abraham to the reign of David. They are mentioned many times as a recurring enemy of the Israelites in all periods of the Bible. Some of these Bible stories are the best-known stories of heroism. Today we will try to answer the question of where the Philistines came from, and we will deal with the heroic stories of the two heroes of Israel in their war against the Philistines. Let's begin. The Philistines came to Canaan at different times, as well as through the Mediterranean Sea and along the coastlines by land. Their conquests began in the 14th century BC. The area where the Philistines lived in the land of Canaan is called in the Bible the land of the Philistines, or Philistia, and stretched from Gaza in the south to the north. Based on biblical tradition, the Philistines originated from Caphtar. Some speculate that it is Crete, the place of origin of the Philistines according to the Bible book of Amos. Are not you Israelites the same to me as the Cushites, declares the Lord? Did I not bring Israel up from Egypt, the Philistines from Caphtar and the Arameans from Kir? Amos 9 verse 7, as described in Genesis. The Philistines originate from the land of the Caslim, descendants of Ham and Noah's great-grandchildren, who came from Egypt. Hathor-sites, Casluhites, from whom the Philistines came, and Caphtorites. Genesis 10 verse 14. The Philistines mentioned in Genesis were the first to come to Canaan, even before Abraham's time. They started the kingdom of Gerar in southern Canaan. In Genesis, they aren't talked about much, except when Abraham and Isaac go to Gerar, a city ruled by King Abimelech. The first encounter with the Philistines starts on the wrong foot. Abimelech, the Philistine king, takes Sarah from Abraham, thinking she's his sister. But in a surprising turn, after a talk with God in a dream, he doesn't touch Sarah and returns her, along with many gifts, to Abraham. The Philistines from Caphtar are the second wave. They arrived in Canaan just before the Israelites came during Joshua's time, settling south of Gaza. The third wave invaded during the Judges era, settling from Gaza to Ekron in the coastal valley. The Philistines' religion and language origins are a mystery, but clues in the Bible and surviving Egyptian reliefs suggest some connections. The Bible comprehensively details their worship practices. In matters of faith, they followed Canaanite customs, venerating Dagon, the coastal people's idol, and possibly Beelzebub in Ekron. Their language remains unclear, lacking any distinct Philistine tongue. The Semitic names of their cities and idols hint at a language akin to Hebrew in Canaan. Alternatively, these names might have been passed down from the Canaanites, the original inhabitants, influencing the city names. The Bible lists 5 Philistine cities: Ashdod, Ashkelon, Gath, Gaza, and Ekron. This coastal area in southwestern Canaan was under Egyptian control until around 1185 BC. Biblically, these cities were governed by 5 Philistine rulers. The Philistines' livelihood centered on shipping, crafts, trade, and likely war spoils and plunder, aligning with 1 Samuel chapter 23's description. Some of them were involved in a vital role in shaping the unique culture of the Sea Islands, particularly in the realm of metalwork. Their expertise extended to polishing various agricultural tools crafted from iron, copper, and bronze. Furthermore, they demonstrated skill in fashioning weapons from these metals. Out of all the stories found in Judges, the story of Samson's heroism and fighting stands out. Samson, a revered judge in Israel, engaged in fights with the Philistines. His story includes his marriage to a Philistine woman, Delilah, and his battles against them. In one of Samson's battles with the Philistines, Samson remarkably defeated 1,000 of them using the jawbone of a donkey. In the happiness of their win, the Philistines aimed to mock the one who had scared them. So they got Samson from the prison and intended to celebrate their triumph by mocking him. In the middle of the temple of Dagon were strong pillars supporting the entire structure. After the Philistines pecked out Samson's eyes, he asked the boy who was leading him to lead him to the central support pillars so he could lean on them. The temple of Dagon was crowded with men, women, and Philistine captains, and on its roof there were about 3,000 men and women. But the long-awaited scenario changed, and instead of amusement and mockery, A picture of Samson praying to God was revealed to their eyes. Sovereign Lord, remember me, please, God, strengthen me just once more, and let me with one blow get revenge on the Philistines for my 2 eyes. Judges 16 verse 28, my God, please grant me the courage to take revenge on the Philistines who gouged out my eyes. The Lord answered Samson's prayer, and his supreme heroism returned. Samson twisted the pillars with incredible strength and knocked them down, causing the roof to collapse on all the residents of the house and bury them alive. At that moment, Samson declared, let me die with the Philistines. Judges 16 verse 30. In this way, he discovered the true essence of his life, since he had dedicated his whole life to revenge on the Philistines by the Israelites. The strangest verse in the whole story is what the people of Judah say to Samson just before they forbid him. Don't you realize that the Philistines are rulers over us? What have you done to us? Judges 15 verse 11. The constant battles between the Israelites and the Philistines persisted without end. The Philistines at times dominated specific Israel tribes, particularly those in the south. Conversely, Israelites would occasionally prevail over them. The greatest period of Philistine power unfolded during the reigns chronicled in Samuel's book. During the period of the kings recounted in the book of Samuel, the Philistines took prisoner the Ark of the Covenant, one of the Israelites' most sacred objects, in their war against Saul. As a result of capturing the Ark, the Philistines suffered beatings and troubles until they decided to return it to the Israelites. In the wars against the Philistines, Saul was considered the most prominent king. He led many battles and was even killed along with his son at Mount Gilboa during his last battle. Among the Philistines were powerful giants, instilling dread with their scaly armor, copper bayonets, and iron swords. Here is where one of the most famous Bible stories comes into play: the famous battle between David and Goliath. Young shepherd David defeats giant Philistine warrior in this epic tale. Reaching into his bag and taking out a stone, he slung it and struck the Philistine on the forehead. The stone sank into his forehead, and he fell face down on the ground. 1 Samuel 17, verse 49. In his role as king, David continued to wage war against the Philistines and subdued their influence in Israel's territories. When the Philistines heard that David had been anointed king over Israel, they went up in full force to search for him, but David heard about it and went down to the stronghold. Now, the Philistines had come and spread out in the valley of Rephaim. So David inquired of the Lord, shall I go and attack the Philistines? Will you deliver them into my hands? The Lord answered him, go, for I will surely deliver the Philistines into your hands. So David went to Baal Perazim, and there he defeated them. He said, as waters break out, the Lord has broken out against my enemies before me. So that place was called Baal Perazim. The Philistines abandoned their idols there, and David and his men carried them off. 2 Samuel 5 verses 17 to 21. Having been defeated by King David, they lost their power and their history. The battle with the Philistines lasted many years. It began with Abraham and ended with David. Later in history, when Nebuchadnezzar conquered and destroyed the cities of Philistia, he exiled its inhabitants to Mesopotamia. We hope you learned something new today. If you did, give this video a like and share it with your friends. You can share with us what you know by leaving a comment below. And don't forget to subscribe to our channel for more informative and entertaining content. Thank you so much and see you next time.